Special Services at Home. My name is Natalie. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention that the information that's being provided in this workshop today is based on current information available to the public regarding this funding, Special Services at Home. This information is subject to change without our notice or consent. And Surrey Place is not affiliated with any of the income support programs, and we do not play a role in the approval or denial of these supports. You can find a copy of the application online at www.forms.ssb.gov.on.ca, which I have included here on the screen for you. You can also call the main office at any time at 416-325-0500. So I'm going to guide you step by step through the process of filling out Special Services at Home application. I'm also going to inform and tell you a little bit about what the funds can be used for. We'll also review who is eligible to apply for Special Services at Home. And then we'll explain how the invoices and reimbursement works for this funding. So if and when you are approved for Special Services at Home, you will also receive some invoices that need to be filled out on a monthly basis, showing what you have purchased or the amount of money that you may be paying a respite worker, for instance. And then those invoices are sent to the ministry, and then you are reimbursed for that amount of money. We're so pleased to offer you this free wellness services event, and we really welcome your feedback. Following the workshop today, if you could kindly take a moment to complete a brief survey, taking a picture of the QR code that you see here on your screen from your mobile device, or by clicking on the link in the description below. So the Special Services at Home program is funded by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. And these funds are for families who have a child, newborn to 18, with a developmental and/or physical disability who are living at home with their families and not receiving support from a residential program. The Special Services at Home programs helps families pay for services that their child can attend and register for. And while they are taking part in these programs, they are able to learn new skills, some independence, enhance their communication skills, and at the same time provide a bit of a break and some respite to the family. So in order to apply for Special Services at Home, the family needs to be living in the province of Ontario. As I mentioned before, the child that you're applying for has a developmental and/or physical disability, need to be living at home, and the child needs more support than most families can provide, and there is no income requirement, meaning that you don't have to make a certain amount of money to be eligible for these funds. And the amount of funding allocated or given to each family looks differently for each family that applies. The ministry looks at the type of services that the child requires, which we will highlight together in the application here today, what other help is available in the community, and also what kind of support the family is already receiving. So let's take a look at the application. And on the first page here, you can see that at the top right corner, they're looking for a yes/no tick in one of those boxes to indicate whether or not you are a Canadian citizen and/or resident of Ontario. You're also going to put in today's date, and then the last name and the first name and the address of the individual that you are applying for. So this would be your child's information here. On the next spot, you are going to indicate whether this is an update or a new application. And for the purpose of this workshop today, we're going to tick off New Application. And the area below is if somebody's helping you fill it out. So if you wanted to include a social worker, a doctor, somebody from your child's school, you could go ahead and put that information there too. Otherwise, you would just carry on to the caregiver name and information and put in your first name and last name. And if the address is the same as the child above, you could just put same as above in the box. All of that information would remain the same. You'll see here in section 2 that this is for those that are reapplying or updating information. So once you are approved, every few years you'll get an application or an ask to update the needs of your child or family situation. So because we are filling out a new application today, we're just going to move on to the next part of the application. And we're going to check off here supporting documentation. You must send a copy of your child's diagnosis and any other supporting documents that might be helpful to support the application. And then below in section 3, we always suggest that you check off both personal development and growth as well as family relief and support. And then we move into section 3. Along the numbers here where we have listed 1 to 5, it gives you the opportunity to write down some of the things that you hope the funds can support. We've put some examples on the right-hand side here. So for instance, you would plan to use this funding for camp, recreation, maybe a social skills group, maybe working with a respite worker or a support person to get some transit training and learn how to be independent in the community, if that's something that you think your child would be working on. Any of those types of things would go down the 1 to 5 here. And if you'd like, you can provide any additional information in the box below. You can see here B, who will be responsible for receiving and managing the funds. You want to put parent, mom, dad, family member. In some instances, it's an agency or someone who helps the family. But generally, we recommend that a family member or a parent put themselves there. The next part of the application is my favorite part of the application. It gives parents, caregivers, family members, or anybody assisting with filling out this application a chance to highlight all of the gifts and all of the strengths of the individual that we are applying for. We know that the children that are accessing these funds do have physical and/or developmental disabilities. But there are always things that we can list here that we are proud of, that we enjoy about our children. So please take a moment and think about some of the things that would apply to your child. Loves other children, loves dogs, loves to swim, loves bubbles, is good at music, is good at puzzles, loves dancing. And once you've completed this section, you can go ahead and move on to the level of support section. You're going to see that there are similar boxes like this for the next page or so. And what we're going to do is we're going to think about a tough day with our child, with our loved one. And we're going to think about the amount of support that they might need in a day in all environments. The first section here is asking about personal development and support. So they're asking you to tick the box of the level of support your child needs throughout the day. This could be dependent on age, needs, diagnosis, so on and so forth. So this is going to look different for every family. There is no right or wrong answer here. You just want to think about the level of support in all areas of your child's life, which will give the individual who is assessing this application an idea of the extra needs of your child. So we're starting with communication. We're going to tick the box of constant, hourly, daily, weekly, needs reminders, or never. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the areas below. Social skills, community activities, and then there's a box that you can also explain a little more. Can't be left alone, difficult to manage in the community, has dangerous behaviors if left alone for too long, like opening cupboards, climbing up on things, seeking out the stove, things in the kitchen. Those are just examples. And then you're going to do the exact same thing for supervision in the community or at home. Really taking some time to think about how much support your child requires. The next area here in section D is about behaviors. The section below it is personal care. We have similar areas that we're going to tick off here, thinking about the level of support they need around behaviors. The ministry has provided some examples at the top, like aggression, withdrawn behavior, temper tantrums, running away, destroying property. Any of those that apply to your child, you can put into the columns and then check off how much support they need or how often you are seeing difficult behaviors. And then you also might want to use the area below just to kind of describe what a really tough day might look like. We've also added some other examples on the right-hand side here, like spitting, pushing. Sleep disturbance is a big one that we also have families tell us about. Anxiety, obsessive behaviors that might get in the way of regular routines, refusal for school or getting on the bus, daycare, working with new people, right? These are some of the things that we hear families express being very difficult when caring for their child. We're going to do the same thing with section E, which is personal care. We're going to look at some of the examples that the ministry has provided at the top column and write them down the side, and then check off the box that appropriately describes the amount of support your child needs. And again, there's a box there for you to write in any information that you think is important. Takes off diaper, a selective eater, takes a long time to finish meals, won't, eat in different environments, have to use a stroller for safety to go out into the community. Those are just some examples for you. And then that takes us to section F, which is medical. Again, there's some examples at the top, like catheterization, tube feeding, seizure control, suctioning, and then you're going to check off the boxes several times a day, once a day, so on and so forth, to describe the level of support that's needed to care for your child around the health and medical. For some of us, nothing will apply or go into this box, and for others, several things will. So just take your time and write down the things that apply to your child. The next area is trying to get an idea of what your family situation looks like. And that's more pertaining to what other things within your family also take up your time or can be a stressor. So we're looking at, are you also caring for an aging parent along with a child that might have extra needs? Does your partner have any physical or mental health issues that you need to also support? Is your partner unemployed? Are you the only person working? Are you working more than one job? Are you a single parent? So you can see again, we've put some examples down the right-hand side here. And these are some of the common ones that parents share with us, which is why we add these extra ones down the side. And you're only going to select the ones that pertain to you. School or childcare, this is pretty straightforward. This is just looking at what your child is doing during the day. Are they attending a daycare, preschool, before care, or after school daycare? And then they're also looking at who you're connected to in the community. So they are asking if you have a service coordinator, you can then go ahead and indicate that, or maybe you're waiting for a service coordinator. And then if you are attending any evening programs or things like swimming or things in the community. With COVID-19, some of these things have really been restricted, so it might not apply. But anything that you think is important for the ministry to know, you can go ahead and write in this section. The next section is about community supports. And this is where you would write in if you had a respite worker or a CHAP worker from respiteservices.com or somewhere else in the community, whether you have anybody coming in from a nursing agency or attendant care. If you have a worker or you have some of these supports, but you're just waiting for the funds, please also indicate that in the comment box. Now we get to the part where we're going to start adding our names and our signatures and our dates to the application. So just take your time here and see where we have put X's for you to be sure that you are adding any phone numbers. So the first section is consent to release information. So that's anybody that you are okay with the ministry calling. Perhaps it's a staff or a clinician here at Surrey Place who knows a lot about your family and is supporting you that you trust. And then you want to make sure that you're signing it and dating it. It's really important that you take your time and make sure you fill this part out correctly, because often they will send the application back as incomplete. And once you've completed the application, you can mail it to the address here, which is at 375 University Avenue. Again, I've just put the telephone number here in case you have any questions. Just before we finish, there's some additional information that I just want to review quickly here. Just a reminder that Special Services at Home is a reimbursement program. Once you are approved for the amount of money that you can receive for the year, you will receive invoices. And these invoices get filled out on a monthly basis and sent back into the ministry for approval, and then you receive your reimbursement funds. This is also available to be done electronically. You can do this on your phone, your tablet, or your laptop, computer through My Direct Plan. If you downloaded the Special Services at Home application from the website, you'll see more information about My Direct Plan. I encourage you to take a look there. It's an easier way to be able to manage your funds and get your reimbursements. You will receive a worker, a special agreements worker that manages your funds and who you can call if you have any questions or concerns. This person is connected to your family based on a postal code. And if you're receiving assistance for children for severe disabilities, it would be the same worker. Assistance for children with severe disabilities is an income-based program, which we also help families apply for. And it comes from the same ministry as the Special Services at Home funds. I just want to remind everybody that a lot of the communication that happens back and forth is done through mail and or by phone. So if you have any changes with your address or your telephone number, please remember to let your special agreements officer know and update your information. If you've come to the end of the workshop and you feel as though you still require some help to fill out this application, please know that you can register through our wellness event calendar and come to one of our resource clinic workshops. There is support in other languages available. And just before we finish, I want to remind you to be sure that you save a copy of the application that you filled out, as well as any of the documentation that you sent. Don't send your original assessments or diagnosis. Make sure you send copies. And when comes time to reapply or update, it's just really nice to have your original Special Services at Home application to refer to. Wellness Services at Surrey Place offers over 100 in-person and live virtual events each month. To register, please visit mysurreyplace.ca. View our calendar of events and go ahead and create an account for yourself so that you can register for the free events that are of interest for you. We also offer many additional recorded events and hundreds of resources that may be of interest to you. Recorded events and resources are also available to view for free at a time most convenient for you at surreyplace.ca/resources. We invite you to join the Family Connections group by visiting the Facebook group on your screen here. The link can also be found below in the description. We really hope that you enjoyed this free wellness event. Please take a moment to complete a brief survey by taking a picture of the QR code that you see here on your screen with your mobile device, or by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you so much. Have a great day.